This is from the 33rdteam.com. So those are former NFL scouts, executive types, top backup quarterbacks who could become starters. They say Jameis Winston. Watson returning from serious shoulder injury, and there's no telling what he'll look like this year. Winston has been league average starter for most of his career, but he's been blocked in New Orleans by the likes of Drew Brees, Derek Carr. This might be the best situation to return to the field and resurrect his career. I think this is probably the best roster that he has played with, the best offensive line, the best wide receivers. Some of the teams in Tampa that he played on were good. I don't think they were this good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Browns don't quite have a Mike Evans at receiver in his prime, but outside of that, I think you have to feel like Jameis Winston would have a strong cast around him if he ever had to start long term. Obviously, Mari Cooper, we've seen what he's done the past 2 seasons. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to play very well. We saw flashes out of Elijah Moore. David Njoku finally had his Pro Bowl season a year ago, not to mention the offensive line. I know there's questions about who's going to start at tackle, but just the consistency of that play, especially from the interior, where quarterbacks never want to face pressure at the interior. The fact that those guys have been there for a long time and continue to remain steady and solid, I think that's got to be a good place for Jameis Winston to feel comfortable. And of course, we saw what Kevin Stefanski was able to do last year. Again, having to start 5 different quarterbacks. He won with 4 different starting quarterbacks, had Joe Flacco take this team all the way to the playoffs at the end of the season. I mean, I don't think there's any question that the Browns have plenty on offense as far as talent. Kevin Stefanski's certainly proven himself as one of the better young coaches in the NFL. It's certainly not a bad situation if Deshaun Watson is hurt and then Jameis Winston has to start a handful of games because Winston, of course, is a pro. He's been around the block a few times. He understands how the game is played. And I think, yeah, I would agree with them that certainly if he has to start, the Browns could still play very well.
Yeah, think about it. Jacoby Brissett had arguably his best year with Kevin Stefanski. Kirk Cousins has had his best year. Baker Mayfield had his best year with Kevin. There are a number of quarterbacks who have had their best years with Kevin Stefanski. So I would think Jameis Winston would have a good year if they had to rely on him.